get lost in the process of going from song idea to release. You start, you know how to write a song, and then you think, how do I do the next piece? I need to produce the song, and you keep going along that process, and there are different places where you get stuck, but you're not sure what to do about it. And you go to YouTube and you try to figure it out, but you're still stuck. Today, we are going to go over what I call the song creation cycle, because what we want to do is not just create and do one time, we want to make it regular. The first part of the song creation cycle is mindset, songwriting, and pre-production. All right, so mindset. We all know there are internal fears and beliefs that stop us from moving forward. This is not uncommon. You are not broken. The antidote to that is doing. So when you know there's something you should be doing, but you feel blocked doing it, that's when you just need to act. Okay, I'm going to do one small thing, because one small step every day over time creates big wins. Songwriting begins with mindset. Songwriting helps me heal my past, articulate the present, and create the future. And in my program, we go through these pieces in depth, because I believe songwriting is here for you. Now, yes, to connect with other people, absolutely. But it is first and foremost here for you. So to have it benefit you and to connect with others, I think is really important. Songwriting, the process, you go through editing, arrangement, lyrics, melody. You are figuring out if you want a bridge, whatever you want in your song based on its genre, its style, whatever your style and interest is, you get to create your song exactly how you want it. And a lot of my clients have wanted to ask other people for feedback. Is getting feedback from other people wrong? No, absolutely not. But if you're constantly asking people for feedback, there's one thing that tells me: you're lacking confidence and you're trying to get approval from other people. That's okay at first. That's common, but it's not something you want to stay in, because the more you can be confident about the songs that you're writing, because you are getting the benefit of the songs, which are, in my opinion, the reason why they come to you and why you connect with the songs. As you build your confidence, as you say, you know what, these songs that I'm writing, I like them because they do X, Y, Z to help me, and they connect deeply with my soul. And if you're not getting to that point, you're trying to write songs, then maybe try to figure out why it's not happening. Is it your motive? Are you trying to write a hit song, but you're not first checking in with your heart to see if it connects with you? Are you trying to write something that is going to appeal to a certain crowd, but it's not actually fulfilling for you? These are things to consider. Once you get done with your song and you feel like, okay, I've edited it down, I have gone through the arrangement, I know what's going on, that's actually part of the pre-production process. You're narrowing down, what is my audience here? Like, who am I trying to reach? Is it pop? Is it people who like hip hop? What are my subgenres? Because as you go to figure out where you're going to release and distribute your song, you're going to need to categorize them. So having that in mind as you make the song and as you go through production, I think is going to be helpful for you. So your pre-production, if you want more information about your pre-production and how to kind of go through that process, then check out in the description my free guide for how to get your song to the point of pre-production. I talk about the entire process. I even have some mindset in there about old music industry mindsets versus new industry mindsets. All right, that's the first section: mindset, songwriting, and pre-production. The next section is production, mixing, and mastering. So this is the piece that many songwriters will either try to do on their own at home, or they will take to a producer or a studio. There are a couple reasons why you would do one versus the other. Maybe you've got the money and you really want to go to the studio. You want somebody's expertise who's been doing it for a while because you don't have the skill sets for it. In my program, I walk my clients through the entire process of production, mixing, and mastering from home. I walk them through the equipment they need. They get settled with the DAW and get familiarized with the DAW, and every single step I walk them through, because when I was learning, I was trying to YouTube this stuff and I was getting stuck. I'd go find a YouTube video. I didn't even know what to look up half the time, but I'd go to the YouTube video and I'd be like, okay, figure out how to mix my song. And then they would say something and I'd be like, what is that? And I'd go and Google that. And then in that video, they'd have something that I didn't understand. I'd be like, what is that? And I found myself going through a rabbit hole of things that I didn't understand. And by the end of it, I had literally gotten nothing done. I created a program where the tuition covers step-by-step coursework to help you get the skills and understanding you need about all the things that you don't quite understand. EQ, compression. What is that button? How do I navigate it? What if I did something and I don't know what to do? I've got weekly question and answer calls where my clients come in and they ask me all the questions that they've had. And then in the community during the week, they get to ask more of the technical questions. I found I didn't have anybody to ask. All I needed was somebody to be like, hey, how does this work? And what is this? And why I feels like I broke this and I don't know how to get this back. And there are all these different questions that come up that are foundational to having a successful experience learning to produce, mix, and master. And without that, I even tried taking other courses online. I'd go to Udemy or whatever and take a course there. And I'd be like, they act like I should know what this thing is. It was incredibly frustrating for me. The technical piece is something that songwriters often avoid because there are very few people that know how to teach somebody from a ground level. And guess what? It's a lot of work. That's why people aren't doing it. I took production lessons from a local studio. I'm like, hey, I want to learn how to do this stuff. Well, guess what? It would have taken me an entire year if I had gone to a weekly lesson with this studio. It would have taken me more than a year to even just get the basics down, because 30 minutes time where I'm going and I'm trying to understand how to run a DAW at home by myself. Do you remember when you were in high school? When I was in high school, I would be in math. I like math. I like learning. I like challenging things. The hardest part for me was I would be at school. My teacher would be framing it all out on the whiteboard. And I would be like, oh, I get this. I'd go home and my mind would just like go blank. Like I couldn't understand it. When I was in the classroom, I totally got it. But now I don't. Well, that's what it's like with music production, mixing, and mastering. You need someone to ask questions to, and that is what my program provides. It's not just a $47 course. It is a lot more substantial. That's for people who are serious about learning the skills because they want to release as often as they want to from home. So that's why I'm here, because I built exactly what I needed. Production is where you add in all the instruments that you want. You've got the arrangement. That was part of the pre-production. But now you're adding all the instrumentation and you're trying to figure out exactly how you want the vibe of the song to be. Next is the mixing piece. The mixing is where you're balancing everything. You're adding effects, bringing out certain sounds and pulling back certain sounds. And you're basically massaging the song to become what you want. And then the mastering piece is the final piece of the technical song making, where you add in a little more loudness and some other magical elements that get it exciting, and then it's done. It's ready to go. This is the piece where a lot of people get stuck. They go, okay, I've finished this song. Well, I mean, there's a lot of places where you get stuck, right? The mixing piece. Oh, I don't know. You could literally go on forever at the production or the mixing and be like, I need to rework this song 1,000 times. One of the things, going back to mindset, is letting go of the perfection. It's letting go of needing everything to be perfect. Yes, we want quality. Yes, we want it to sound good. Is it going to, if doing your first song, is it going to be perfection? It might not, but is it going to be really good? Yeah. And the more you do it, the more familiar you get. A lot of my clients will say, wow, it took me this many weeks. 8 weeks is the minimum time frame. You need 8 weeks to go from song idea to release. And that's the minimum amount of time. A lot of times people take a little bit longer, but because it's a self-paced course and program, it works out. Now that you've got your song, we're not sitting on it. We're not saying, oh, I don't know how to release it. I'm just going to sit on it forever. Okay, do you know how long I had my song Personal Throne sitting in my hard drive? I'd gone to the studio. I paid money for it. I had it there and I loved my song. I listened to it all the time. I was so proud of it. But then guess what? It just sat there and I didn't share it with anybody. And then you know what else happened? I had an opportunity for it before it was released. I sent it to a friend, was like, oh, like, let's keep this really quiet, hush, hush. Okay, that's old industry music mindset, this need to have everything be super precious and hush, hush. I mean, unless you are Taylor Swift, you do not need to keep anything hush, hush. You need to get out as much as possible. You need to not be sitting on stuff. Have you ever listened to a YouTube video that was not perfect? Have you ever watched a YouTube video of somebody playing an instrument and it was just like them with their guitar and it wasn't that great of quality, but because of the heart and soul of the person, you stayed to listen? My least best productions, the ones that I did before I ever learned the skills, those got the most views, mostly because I screwed up my algorithm after I started doing my other music. That's another story for another day, which I will tell you because it is important. Here's the thing. Release your song. You could sit here forever on songs. I was talking with a woman who had an entire 12-song album finished and had it finished for more than a year. And guess what? She was just sitting on it. Why? Because she was scared to death to release. When you spend a lot of money on your music, you have much higher expectations for it, which is actually not really good for your music. If you have not read Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, I highly recommend that. She talks about letting go of the preciousness. Because when we place a lot of pressure on our songs to do well, we have a lot more fear and it paralyzes us. Fear is paralyzing. Trust is mobilizing. Remember that. Put that on your wall. Fear is paralyzing. Trust is mobilizing. Do it. Put it out. It doesn't have to be perfect. In the tech world, if you put out an app or a product that is perfect, you are releasing it too late. Same with songs. People don't need perfection. They want heart and soul. They want you. Depending on what your goals are for your song, and it will be different for everybody. Some people are like, I just want to make my songs. I just want to release them. I want them to be a legacy for my kids, my friends and family. I want it to be an opportunity to share what I have and see what path those songs can take. Or maybe you have been involved in another career for a long time, but you have all these songs that you do want to produce and release them, but you just haven't yet. And you don't even necessarily want to be an artist. You just want to put them out into the world. Maybe you are an artist and you do want to put out regular releases, but it's not quite in your wheelhouse to spend thousands of dollars. My first album was $17,000. It was 7 songs. I was making good money, but I also was like, this isn't sustainable. This isn't something that I can just keep doing forever. So I shifted. Eventually, I was like, you know what? I want to learn how to do this at home because I do want to do it in my PJs after my kids go to bed. And I do want to do it in the early hours of the morning when I wake up at 3 a.m. and can't go back to sleep. And I do want to do it in moments of spare time. I don't want to have to block out 4 hours of time for a studio and then have the pressure of feeling like I have to have everything completely ready to go. I would rather say, you know what? I want to hire out a guitarist for this part because I need it to sound really good. And then have them send it to me in the comfort of my home and spend like $100 instead of $1,000 for the studio time too. That's something I wanted for myself. I wanted to build music into my lifestyle, not have to segment out parts of my lifestyle. I was an educator for a decade. I was a teacher. I got my master's degree, became an assistant principal, and then a consultant, and started a company. And I've done all these different things. Like doing music as its own profession for me was like, I didn't actually start that until I was almost 40. I'd been writing songs the whole time and it had gotten me through all of my hard times in life. It had been how I was articulating my plastic. That's how I manifested my husband through my songwriting. My music has been an integral part of my life. All of these skills are going to benefit you. Imagine having the skill sets that you need. And you can choose, well, I actually want to take this one to the studio. Or maybe I want to do all of these pieces, but I want to hire this part out. Having the freedom is incredible. once you've released and found a way to connect with people, whether that's building an online presence or whether that's sending it to your friends or sending it to your brother because you wrote it for him, whatever that is, then you're going to repeat the process. That's why it's called the song creation cycle. I don't want it to just be, I'm going to go from song idea to release, boom, done. No, I'm going to go from song idea to release, and then I'm going to repeat that process and I go again and again. Like a beautiful wheel. Circles. Amazing. Never ending. And you know what? You've got time, and the time is now. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do, because every time you subscribe, this content gets pushed out to other people who need to hear it as well. It is a lonely world out there in songwriting for people who are independent songwriters, who have been at this on their own, who've been trying to figure it out. Please like and subscribe and hit the bell so you know when my videos are coming out. My goal here is to help songwriters make songs. I want you to make your songs because no one else can make the songs that you can make. And the more you make them, the more you develop and shine your unique sound, your unique experience in the world. I help songwriters who play an instrument, use a Mac, and want to create more often. If you don't write songs, but you want to write songs, as long as you play an instrument and use a Mac, then that's something that we can talk about. Book a call, more about the program and if it's a fit for you. I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.